So yeah, Tony, tell us about AR iron and AR powder coating, how that all works, kind of how you guys got your start. I know it's a family owned and you guys been there for a long
Yeah,
time, but tell us a little bit about how your
yeah.
organization works.
About 35 years now. 1988,
Mm,
89 is when we started up. And we started
right.
as a small ornamental iron shop doing gates and fencing, railings. And then we got into multifamily. We started doing stairs, apartment buildings, condominiums, things like that. A lot of commercial developments in between, but a lot of residential homes for home builders, large
Mhm.
home builders going in and doing all of their side gates and railings and fencings and things of that sort. Around 2004, 2005, we said, you know what, we really need to start looking at providing a better finish. I mean, we were provided great ornamental fabrication, but the last thing the person sees is the paint finish. And
Right.
at that
Right.
time, we were doing oil-based enamels, and we said, hey, let's get into some powder coating. And
Mm,
about 2005 ish, we built a line, threw in a conveyor system. Green as can be, didn't know anything about what we were doing, just said, hey, this is what we want to do, and we did it. And here we
right.
are, 20 some years later, still pushing forward, just always trying to improve ourselves, always trying
Right.
to, look at the next step.
Right. And like I said, you have a separate AR iron now. You also have AR powder coating, right? And I guess, do you take outside work as well?
We
Then
do. We take a lot of outside work, from doing our own work. That turned us into a job shop, and there was a demand for it out here in Southern Nevada. And so
right.
it's incorporated us to not only do jobs locally, but do jobs all the way from Seattle to LA. I mean, all across the country, we're doing stuff all over the place.
Right, right. It's funny. You mentioned you got into powder coating, and I want to take you back to that because a lot of people think it's easy to do powder coating, right?
Sure.
Think it's just an easy thing, just put the coat on, bake it, and everything.
You would
How
think.
long did it? Yeah, you would think, right? It took. Talk about that a little bit. It took you guys a while to kind of get that down, get that nuance down, which is, like I said, a mistake. I think a lot of manufacturers make. They think it's very easy to do, but it is an
Yeah.
art and it's a science, correct?
Yeah, it is. And you would think that, you just throw some powder in the hopper, pull the trigger, and it's going to stick and you're good to go. And it's not that way. You got to fight battles of Faraday or, all different types of things, whether it's a smudge or of something on the part from pretreatment or whatever. But one of the things that we've continually done since we started was we've got involved in training. We've got involved with educational things through CCAI and PCI. Those two
Mhm.
organizations have been extremely helpful with not only ourselves, but growing the knowledge base and the educational side of the industry. It's been a
Right,
huge benefit. Continually
right,
training, continually training.
right. Right, exactly. Let's
Yeah,
jump. Yeah, I was gonna say, let's jump ahead a quick. Now, you guys just got a major certification with the American Architectural Manufacturers Association, 2604, 2605. These are not easy. Not a lot of people do them.
right.
Kind of take me back. Why did you want to do this? I guess was that
Well,
just
once
a
again, we're always looking to differentiate ourselves. We don't. Everybody does the same thing. Whether it's an ornamental or powder coating. Anybody can pick up a welder. Anybody can pick up a powder coat gun. But it's how you do it, the steps you take. We won't take shortcuts. We will not. We want to go by the 5 P's. Proper planning prevents poor performance,
mm,
or as I like to say, proper pre-treatment prevents poor performance. So that's the exact route here with the AAMA 2604 and '05. We want to be able to have the highest quality and the best warranty that's out there from our powder manufacturers. We just recently did a job prior to becoming AAMA 2604 and 2605 approved. This was a steel application, but we have a periscope that's down in the wharf in San Francisco, 50 feet
mm,
from the ocean. It's been there 10
right.
plus
Oh
years now,
wow.
still looks fabulous to this day. So when you have successes like that, it tells me we're on the right track. And it all
Right. Right.
begins with pre-treatment. That's the first step. You know,
Right.
um, so that's
Right.
that's why we went after the 2604.
Right. And tell me through the timeline. How long does it take to do that? What do you have to do? Tell me all the things that you guys had to
Yeah,
do to get ready for
it
that.
took some time. It took a lot of time. Just between having the guys from Tiger Drylight come out, Vernie, who's awesome. I don't know if you know Vernie, but he's a great technician, and he comes out and dials everything in, and gives suggestions and ideas as to how we can be successful. And we did. We went through the processes of the alkaline testing, the phosphates, the Corbon, and all the different applications. Went through, applied them, sent them out, and waited. And then it became a waiting game. Ding,
Hmm.
ding, ding, months and months.
Right.
So finally, they called us and they said, "Hey, we got you. You got approved 2604, but you failed in the 11th hour on 2605."
Mm,
And so that really hurt because it was like, man, we did everything exactly the way it was, and even the laboratory couldn't figure it out. The
mm,
tire came back and says, They don't know why. Maybe something got in the RO and the rinse. And we said, well, let's test again.
Hmm.
So we did the exact same test, except we made just a little tweak. And that was great because the chemical guys worked with us. And they
Right,
said, hey,
right.
just make this little tweak and we'll retest again. Retested again, came with flying colors for 2605.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
You talk about that, and part of it, that mindset of that you're going to go for these certifications, any certification you're going to go for. You kind of have to sell your team on it, right? That
Yeah.
this is we're trying to get into very rare air as far as applicators, right?
Yeah.
And how did you go about doing that? Convincing them? How do you explain to them what's going to be going on, and to maintain that quality that needs to come out every day?
We've bought into the training, and
Mm-hmm.
we've taken all the guys in groups and put them into those classrooms and says, hey, this is why we do these things this way, and they've bought into it. Of course, human error. You have sometimes where a guy comes in and he says, hey, you know what, I missed it, or screwed up, but then that happens. But the procedures that we follow, everybody's bought into it because they want to provide that to our customers.
Right.
So
Right.
they
Yeah.
take
And
pride. They take a lot of
right.
pride.
Right. What changes have you done to your line? I know, like I said, last couple of years I was out there. I knew you were getting ready and you were working your
Yeah,
pre-treatment. I think a lot of things that you were investing back into the line. What have you been
we
doing
did.
with it?
We did, and we've done that with our ornamental as well. We've always bought into new tools or best technology or best equipment. It's been a driving force with us because you don't want downtime, you don't want things failing, and we felt that Parker Ionics was a great supplier for us to do just
Mhm.
that. We changed out our analogs gun controllers to all digital gun controllers, put in all new reciprocators, new wash system with now a 6 and 7 stage pre-treatment. So yeah, they came in and just did a phenomenal job doing these little tweaks from our original installation. Yeah,
Right. And again, I think that's what separates a lot of shops from others, right? Is how much you invest back in, how much you bring in some of the top tier suppliers to work with you,
yeah,
to really, because they've got that expertise in, to help you get things dialed in, and so you get repeatability and good quality
yeah,
with that. And that's something, like I said, again, a lot of shops just don't do, but it pays off, doesn't it? And I think in the long
yeah.
run, doesn't
Unfortunately, here in Vegas, a lot of times we'll find that people get a little scared. They get apprehensive. They don't want to get out of their comfort zone. But
it?
thankfully for us, we've done just that. We've got out of our comfort zone and reached out to a lot of these industry leaders,
Mhm.
from equipment side or chemical side or whatever. And we have a problem. We pick up the phone and we say, hey, we've got this little issue. What do we need to do? And we've got an answer within minutes. And the networking and that side of it's been very beneficial to
Right,
lead us
right.
to this point.
Got to this point, right? Take us through your paddock operation. How many lines do you have, and booths and things like that? What do it look like
I tell
for us?
you what, I would love to have another one right now because the demand is increasing more and more.
Hmm.
We've got one conveyorized line. It's a power and free line, about 600 feet of chain. We've got 20-foot load bars. We can do parts 8 foot tall, 2 foot wide, and 20 foot long. And then we've got full recovery on the powder reclaim. And then we also have a batch system, a 12 by 12 by 35. We also offer in-house blasting, media blasting as well. So we go through many different processes, whether it's blasting or chemical pre-treat for our finishings.
Right, right. And about how much work for the powder coating side? How much is a split from what you guys is iron work side, and then how much from outside customers?
It's gotten to about 50% of our revenue now.
Really?
Yeah, it's grown so much that we're doing about 50% of our entire revenue is outside work.
Right,
We're still coating all of our own products at the
right,
same time.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
I
it's
was, I
been
was gonna
nice. It's opened up a lot of doors.
And like I said, to have that control on the ironwork side, to be able to have that control, the whole process is under basically one
One
roof,
roof.
one company
Yeah.
with that. And I know it's funny is that I guess, when you're getting work from outside people coming in, I guess you kind of know that these are manufacturers that really need to get this back. And so you understand what they're going through, right? They need to
Oh,
get
sure.
pretty quick turnaround time and very good quality with that.
Yeah, quality is the main thing. Turnaround time is important. As we've seen over the last couple of years, there's been delays.
Mhm.
Whether it's in supplies or whatever. But we've been able to stay on top of it for the most part. The hardest part was finding labor, skilled labor at times.
Right,
Getting guys back to work and wanting to come back in and do something. But that's slowly getting up to par where it needs to be. Um,
right,
but yeah, a lot of these customers they'll come in and not only need powder coating, but sometimes they'll need something manufactured. So
right.
powder coat jobs has turned into manufacturing jobs for us, welding or fabricating different frames or what have you. So
Right. You mentioned training, and I know you're actively involved with CCAI. You're president, correct? I mean, this
That
is
is
yeah,
that is
yeah,
correct. I am the
yeah,
Las Vegas chapter president and the national board president. Yep.
yeah. Something you've been involved in for a long, long time. How important is that? For talking to other shops about getting involved and being there and supporting the industry, and also really getting something out of it for your company, where they're getting training, they're getting a lot of technology awareness, those type of things. It's got to be
Yeah,
very important.
CCI offers a lot of training. They do a lot of good for a lot of different things, whether it's educational practices and a lot of programs for young kids nowadays, getting them into these trade schools. We have the Women in Finishing program that gets women involved. We have Workshop for Warriors that we were working on. I mean, there's multiple avenues for someone to get involved, to get educated, and you want to be around like-minded people, like-minded professionals. And when you get into those settings, you get strike up a conversation, and you realize, hey, these guys do the same thing I do. We got a lot more in
Right.
common than we realize.
Right. Yeah. I think some people they look at other product owners as competitors. And I think that
Right.
when you get rolled down into it, it's really allies sometimes where,
Yeah.
if you've got a problem, you got an issue or something, you can pick up the phone and call somebody 2 states
Yeah.
away and run it by
Yeah.
them. Or, really, like you said, you have the same interest. You're doing the same thing that they are doing every day. And it's kind of nice to be able to talk to some of those people sometimes. Right. I
Yeah. And
guess,
some of those relationships, it's built better. I don't know what the right word is, but if we have an issue or say, hey, I need to borrow 5 pounds, you got 5 pounds of this for me? Yeah,
right.
that type of thing.
Right.
Yeah,
The collaboration.
it's nice.
Any more? Yeah, I was gonna say it's nice to have that at your disposal. So what's the plans for your facility there? I mean, is it you said you wish you had another one? Is that something that you guys another line or something? Is that something that you guys are looking at doing or
Right now we're just keeping an eye on the economy, seeing what trends are
right?
happening. Just kind of holding off a little bit, see what direction we go in. I think eventually down the road, either another batch system or another small conveyor system might be beneficial to us. It all just depends on our workload. But Southern Nevada seems to be growing in the needs. A lot of Californians are moving out here, manufacturing. I know Haas Automated is moving out here,
Mhm.
as well as some others. So the future is bright in Southern Nevada. There's a lot of tax benefits out here for these corporations to come out here, and I feel like we're trying to set ourselves up so that when it does happen, we're ready to go.
Right, right. If another shop was to ask you, hey, what this 2604, 2605, what are some tips that you would give them to get ready, to get through it, and to get their team ready? What would you suggest as some
I
things?
think the educational side, the training of your employees is extremely important. Get written documentation, something that they can refer to, that's in their face, that they can always go back and say, hey, what am I doing? Oh, I missed this, but consistently talking, having meetings, going over different things, going over successes and going over failures. Nobody ever wants to hear the bad stuff, but sometimes you have to point out, to enable to improve.
Right,
It's
right.
sometimes you don't like to hear it, but it's something that needs to be said. And our guys hold each other accountable, which is extremely important.